All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this video. My name is Taylor Bentrude, and we're going to talk about how you are not your thoughts. Your thoughts are simply not yours. And if you think that you own your thoughts and that your thoughts are yours, well, this is going to be a fantastic video for you because they are not. And I'm going to prove it to you in less than 30 seconds. Okay. Before I get to that, when you understand this principle or this realization that your thoughts are not yours, you're able to live a much happier, peaceful life. Okay. Your state of being is just, it's amazing. It's a million times better than what it was before when you identified with your thoughts. Okay. Now I know you're wondering, whose thoughts are they? How can you prove that my thoughts are not mine? Well, let's just get into it. Okay. If you want to realize that your thoughts are not yours, you can pause this video, you can close your eyes, and you can meditate for 5-10 minutes. Okay, I guarantee that if you meditate for 5-10 minutes and you try to think of nothing, okay, that's the point. No thoughts. Get into a state where you can have zero thoughts for 10 minutes straight. Okay, that's the point of meditating, is just to sit there and do nothing and think nothing and have no thoughts. However, when you do this, and I dare you to do it, for 5-10 minutes, what you're going to realize is that you are unable to stop the thoughts. The thoughts are just coming out of nowhere. Just boom, bam, everywhere. Random thought about how you broke up with some person 4 years ago. Random thought about how you should probably go buy some toilet paper. Random thought about how, the world might be in 5 years, depending on the election. Random thought about random shit that does not matter. Okay, pardon my language. But that is how you can simply realize that you are not in control of your thoughts. Okay, so who's in control? Who's the puppet master? Who is producing these thoughts? Well, that's a beautiful question. So now that you've realized that you can't control your thoughts, it's very much like your heart. I just want to give this quick analogy. You can't tell your heart, stop beating. It won't. It just goes and goes and goes and goes. You cannot stop your heart from beating. So that's another thing, is like, are you really your body? Are you really your physical body? Yeah, you can move your hand and stuff, but can't just stop your heart. Can't stop your thoughts. So this is going to go down the rabbit hole here pretty quickly. However, the thoughts that you have are simply coming from the ego. Okay, I don't want to say your ego because there is no real you. Okay, it's the ego. The thoughts come from the ego. Okay, and you can think of the ego as the primitive mind. Okay, the ego very much served its purpose throughout the caveman days, or even prior to that, when humanity was evolving and it reached where it is today, to where we have the prefrontal cortex and the ability to objectively think from from an observer perspective. Okay, many animals, they don't have this prefrontal cortex. They don't have the ability to, for example, objectively look at themselves from a third-party perspective. Kind of like if I'm imagining myself making this video right now and I'm watching myself from above, I can do that because of more or less the prefrontal cortex and other things in the brain. But the point is that we've evolved into that type of consciousness where we have that ability to be conscious of the awareness of, oh, I'm here. This is me. Anyways, the ego is very much the primitive mind that we had for thousands or potentially hundreds of thousands of years. And it served its purpose to keep us alive for many years up until, humanity now dominates Earth. And now it's kind of just a hindrance to you and me because, for example, I was chilling on the balcony yesterday and I was reading this business book and I had this random thought oh, you should just jump off the balcony. And I kind of chuckled and laughed because I realized that my thoughts aren't mine and that the ego just always wants to be on stage. It always wants to be there. It doesn't want to be released. It's always present, okay? It always wants to be there. And when I had a thought like that, I didn't identify with it. I didn't think, oh my God, am I suicidal? Holy shit, maybe I need to go and get someone I can talk to, like a psychiatrist or something like that. Maybe I should tell my spouse about this. I don't know what's going on. I start getting anxious because holy shit, I had this thought. And that is how most people operate. They identify with their thoughts. They truly believe that their thoughts are created by them. Now, do not think in absolutes. There are some thoughts that are, created by you, okay? So let me give you an example. When you are trying to build an automation or a system or, interview a person, that you're potentially going to hire for your company. These activities require laser focus. They require a massive amount of energy that you're exerting to focus on the task at hand, okay? Let's say that you are on a client call. You're really focused in on what this client is saying and trying to deliver the best experience for the client and solve his or her problems if they have problems. Same thing if you're building an automation. You're really laser focused in, okay? And you're exerting your energy focused on solving this problem. Therefore, the thoughts that you have in that moment are going to be relevant to the problem that you are trying to solve. However, okay, that's an example of thoughts that you could say that are created by you, okay? But let's say you go to the bathroom just for 3 minutes. When you stop that laser focus and you just check out, you go to the bathroom for 3 minutes and come back, on that 3-minute journey, there is going to be all sorts of random stuff popping into your mind, okay? Or if you drive to the bank and you drive back, in the minutia of driving to the bank and driving back, random thoughts about, again, this random breakup that you had 4 years ago, the emotions that you felt, a friend who you haven't seen in years, buying toilet paper, getting groceries, something that your girlfriend said to you this morning, an emotion that just random stuff's going to pop up, okay? So, most of the time, it's random stuff because most people aren't spending their lives with laser focus on one task. They're multitasking, they're all over the place, they're doing lots of different things. They're answering the phone, they're responding to someone via email, and there's all sorts of things going on. And so they're having all these different random thoughts, most of which are produced by the ego, okay? So, going down the rabbit hole here, really deep going down the rabbit hole. When you don't identify with your thoughts, it's a very peaceful thing because there's all sorts of weird thoughts that are going to come into your mind. Okay, the ego is really weird. When you start to meditate, man, it feels threatened, okay? It's like the ego doesn't want to let go of the thoughts. But if you get good at meditation, you practice for many years, you can get good at silencing the mind for, let's just say you're starting meditation tomorrow, you've never done it. It's going to be crazy. You're going to have a very difficult time silencing the mind and having no thoughts. Okay, but if you've done meditation for years, you may be able to have no thoughts for a couple minutes or 3 or 4 minutes. That's actually really, really good to have no thoughts for 3 or 4 minutes. But it starts to slow down the ego. And when you start out in meditation, it's kind of like the ego feels threatened and it's going to start having more crazy, wild thoughts when you're almost threatening it because you're trying to slow down the mind. Now, there's many benefits to meditation. It's scientifically proven. You can do the research. It will increase your health. It'll help your immune system. It'll just make you feel much peaceful and much more happier, etc. I won't get into the science of it. The science is already there. It's very proven. But what's funny is that the ego feels threatened and it feels like it is being attacked and it can't. And so it's going to try to come up with the most crazy stuff, like jump off the balcony, or you should go and break up with this person that you truly love, or think about that breakup that you had, or think about that time you got punched in the face. It's going to try to pull back different memories or create random stories, like an airplane crashing into the building or someone robbing your house, random stories that are very traumatic and dramatic and arise a lot of emotions. So it does this because it wants to stay alive. Now, I could probably end the video here and say, that's it. This is how you realize that you are not your thoughts, and that your thoughts are produced by your ego. Your ego is your primitive mind, and that you don't have to identify with them, and that if you don't identify them, you're going to live a much happier and peaceful life. Okay, so that technically this video, I could end it here. Now, if you found this interesting and you thought, that's weird, I've never really thought about that. I've never really thought about how I can't control my thoughts and how they're not really mine most of the time. Well, if you like that, let me know. This video was inspired by a student in Agency Enlightened who sent me a voice note via Facebook Messenger the other day. And he said some interesting things that made me think, you know what, maybe I should share a little bit more information about the way I think about mindset and just, how this thing works. Just this morning I did a meditation and had an out-of-body experience. It's very common now to have an out-of-body experience, but if you've had an out-of-body experience, okay, you know that this physical body thing, this thing right here, this isn't the only thing that there is. Okay, you got a whole nother body and it is like, it's totally different than this body, and you got it. It is basically like an energy body of some sort. Now, I could make many videos on this and talk about this and how to actually enter this out-of-body state, because it's not something where you have to go through a near-death experience to get into an out-of-body state, okay? I can't promise you're going to get into one, but it's the practice of getting into your brain waves into delta and theta waves while keeping the mind awake but allowing the body to go to sleep. And by doing such a thing, you remove identification with the physical body, and you then become, one with the light body, which has all 5 senses. You can see things, you can hear things, you can taste things, you can touch things, you can smell things. It has all the senses, okay? It's just as real. It's more real than a dream, okay? And you can go wherever you want. It's a very interesting experience. But anyways, that's where I'm going to leave this video. I'm expecting some unsubscribes, since some people think this is some woo-woo pseudoscience stuff, and I'm ready for those people. All right. Anyways, let me know your thoughts. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It is much appreciated. We're almost at 1,000 subs, so if you haven't subscribed, well, it would be amazing, and I would be grateful if you did, because we're almost at 1,000. So thank you so much. Mr. Hawkins says thank you as well. He's not going to say anything. All right. Thanks, guys. Much love. Ciao.